Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Elephant Professional Lecture on this Wednesday morning from the Golden Triangle Asian Elephant Foundation here in far north Thailand, right on the borders of Myanmar and Laos. Looking out, I can see elephants down in the grassland. Today for our lecture, we don't go very far. We go as far as Xishuangbanna, which is only about 300 kilometers upstream in Thailand, and Lili Li. And she will be talking about her experiments with to find the limits of cooperation in elephants with a set of elephants from Myanmar. So very, very close to home. All of I don't know which elephants she used in Myanmar, but we'll be talking. I'm sure she'll let us know how far away those elephants were as well. So all very, very close to home. And I'm very, very fascinated to see this work because the original work for cooperation that proved elephants know how to cooperate from Think Elephants International and Dr. Josh Plotnick, or one of the pieces of original work, was done here. And I think from reading the paper that Lily has expanded on that work and taken it even further and found the limits of what it takes for elephants to cooperate. So we will find out if elephants, I always say on the live streams, Lily, that elephants do not share food. And we will find out whether your findings bear that out or not. So without further ado, thank you very much, Lily, for joining us. Please do tell us about the rise and fall of cooperation in Asian elephants.
Okay, thank you, John. And really thank you for Golden Triangle Asian Elephant Foundation to organize this Elephant Professional Lecture. So today I'm going to talk about the rise and fall of cooperation in Asian elephants. And I've learned a lot from the previous lectures, and I'm really happy and honored to be here and talk about my work in Myanmar. So I'm Lily. I'm from Xishuangbanna Tropical Botanical Garden. So a little bit introduction about our group. I come from Animal Behavior and Changing Environments Research Group. And XTBG is located in Yunnan province of China. And the research, this garden is really beautiful, and it is surrounded by a river called Luosuojiang, and it is a branch of Mekong Lancang River. So you're really welcome to come here one day and to have a visit. This place is a biodiversity hotspot, and we also have a, so the research interest of our research group is focused on biodiversity, conservation, and animal behavior. So we also have a Southeast Asia Biodiversity Research Institute in Myanmar. So, so that I have this opportunity to study Asian elephants in Myanmar. Okay, today I'm going to go a little bit academic, and I'll give you a little bit background of cooperation. As you may know that the cooperation is actually quite common in nature. You can see like interspecies cooperation and also interspecies cooperation. The cooperation here, I define it as like individuals, they put a joint effort to gain some profit from the cooperation. But today we are going to just focus on the interspecies cooperation. So there are usually some evolutionary pathway to cooperation. The well-known one may be kin selection and reciprocity. And today we will just focus on group selection. So simply speaking, group selection is like if there are two or three teams of to join a boat racing, a cooperative team may outcompete the less cooperative. So the between group competition can enforce cooperation within group. However, within group there's also probably competition. For example, some people or some individual, they pay nothing, but they gain the profit from the cooperation. So indeed, in this case, the cooperators cannot get the profits it may lead to the breakdown of cooperation. And how to mitigate this within group competition? So we can have a look at our human society, and actually the humans are like a master in cooperation, because we can cooperate between strangers, we can cooperate with strangers, and sometimes the cooperation is on a global scale, and we can cooperate with others in various ways. For example, we have laws we have laws, we have policy, we develop this to punish those who don't follow the rule and who compete for the who cheat in the cooperative game. It has been tested also in other animals like chimpanzee, raven, or hyena, and others. It is tested that this animal, like in some way, they can also cooperate with their partner. However, whether they can like, if there is competition happen in their group, can they mitigate this competition and continue to cooperate with their partners? So this research question has been answered by Sutrak in 2016. Like they found that chimpanzees can mitigate the competition within group using some strategies like punishment, like third-party intervention. But this kind of research so far is still just a few. So today we are our study want to use the Asian elephant as our study subject, because Asian elephant is evolutionarily distant from humans or non-human primates. So by the comparison of this cooperative ability across species, maybe we can find out why human cooperation is so special. And maybe we can find some simple principles that underlie the cooperation across species. And we choose Asian elephant because it has a big brain and it has been recognized as a very high cognitive animals. And they have a flexible trunk. It's like humans' hand, so that they can manipulate the apparatus we offer to them. But the problem is that the Asian elephant is a huge, massive, giant animal. So it would be a little bit difficult to study on Asian elephant. But later I would tell that in some elephant camp, they offer us this opportunity to study this giant animal. Yeah, so I also cooperate with Dr. Josh Plonick, and in 2011 he has tested that elephant can cooperate with their partner. So in this study, we want to go further and to ask the question that when the resources are limited, would elephants display competition behavior? And second, will Asian elephant use different strategies to mitigate the competition according to the closeness or rank difference between competitors? And thirdly, and when the resources become extremely limited, will their cooperation break down? So we travel all the way to Myanmar, and we finally find a really perfect elephant camp to conduct this study. Okay, this elephant camp belong to the Myanmar Timber Enterprise, and Myanmar Timber Enterprise, they have like around 4,000 captive elephants in their country, but in our elephant camp, there were 34 semi-captive elephants. And these elephants were before used in logging or tourism, but since the logging ban launched in Myanmar, these elephants they retire from their work, so they just live in this elephant camp. So you can see that each elephant has been assigned to one mahout. Mahout is the one who take care of the elephant. So in the morning, they will go to the forest to collect their elephants and check their health, maybe sometimes take a bath for the elephants, and then release them back to the forest. So this elephant, they can range freely in the forest. And in this surrounding forest, there were about 20 wild elephants. So our semi-captive elephant, they can communicate or interact freely with this wild elephant. So here in the picture, you can see a bull wild elephant on the left side. He came to our elephant camp looking for a female elephant. Okay, so this is our experiment setting. We put 9 semi-wild elephants in a big enclosure we built near the elephant camp. And these apparatus were designed by Hirada and Fuwar in 2007. So you can see, we call this loose string apparatus. So you can see just one single rope threaded through this table, so that only 2 elephants pull together only in this way they can pull the table towards them and get the food on the table. So when there's only one elephant pull the rope will get loose and the table stay unmoved. So in phase 1, we put 2 trays on the table, and then so at this point, like the food is still is limited, like for 9 elephants, but it's enough for these 2 cooperators. So in phase 2, we make this task tougher for them. Like we only put 1 tray in the middle of the table, so that the food become very limited. Still, at this time, the food in the tray is divisible, so that the elephant can actually share the food. When we were not doing the experiment, every 3 or 4 days, we will also gather this elephant in another field, and then we record their distance between individuals, and also this one is in order to calculate their affiliation index, which represent their closeness. And we also record the dominant behavior of these elephants, so using all occurrence sampling. And we used the Davis scores method to calculate their social ranking. So here you can see our results show a really clear pattern that in the 2 trays phase 1, elephants cooperate, the cooperation rates of elephants like increase quickly and then reach to a stable pattern. And when we put only 1 tray in the middle of the table, so the cooperation rates of elephant decrease rapidly, and it leads to the breakdown of the cooperation. And let's see what's going on here. Here, this video shows a case of a successful cooperation between elephants. Okay. So during our experiments, we found 5 types of competition behaviors. So from left side to the right side, the cost increased. So the first one is approaching, which means that one elephant approached to the space of an apparatus. when there were standing another cooperators, and I mean another elephants approach this elephant standing in front of the apparatus. So they compete for the space in front of the apparatus. So the second one is rope pulling. This one is different from what we call cooperation here, because this one is like two or more elephants, they competed for one end of the rope. Okay, so the third one is freeloading. It means that the elephant just stand by and they didn't pull the rope, but they steal the food from the tray. The fourth one is monopoly. It means that one elephant eat all the food on the tray, on the table. And the fifth one is fighting. So it's like the approach only posed a threat to the space in front of the apparatus, and rope pulling posed a threat to the rope. Freeloading maybe threat to part of the food, but monopoly it posed a threat to all the food, and the fighting may cause some physical injury to the cooperators. So you can see that in phase two, in two trays phase one, the most costly behavior, which are monopoly and fighting, the frequency of these two behavior were quite low. So this graph is actually a little bit complicated, but you don't need to look at it. I will explain a little bit. So in each competition scenario, we recorded some response that elephants have after the competition happened. So we record like some elephants, they show no response after the competition behavior happened. And some elephants would use their body to block the way of the approaching competitors. And some elephant could fight back if there is competitors there. And some elephant may choose to leave the apparatus to quit the cooperation. And some elephant might behave to be submissive to the dominant elephant. And very interesting strategies that elephant used, we recorded here, is the move side strategy. It means that when a competitor's approaching to the apparatus, the elephant may move from one end of the road to another end of the road to avoid the further competition with the coming elephant. I would like to show you a video of a case of move side. So you can see that on the right side, there is an approaching a dominant female. So the two elephants choose to move to another side. And because the elephant in the middle has a good relationship with the bull elephant, which is the dominant in our case. So he used the relationship of with the dominant elephant to block away the approaching female elephant to avoid a further competition, so that he can still kept to cooperate with the dominant elephant in this case. So you can see that he pushed the dominant elephant a little bit to the right side. Okay, so using these various strategies, they still can keep the cooperation on a very high rate. The average cooperation rates is about 80% in our case. So we therefore make the task tougher for them. When we only put one tray on the table, you can see clearly that the most costly behavior competition, monopoly and fighting, the frequency of them increased significantly in our case. Here is a video of the case of monopoly. So the dominant elephant eat all the food on a tray. At the beginning, they still can cooperate well, but soon some of the elephants got disappointed and they leave the field and stop to cooperate with the competitors anymore. And it leads to the breakdown of the cooperation. So our study found that when food resources were limited, Asian elephants could adjust their competition mitigation strategies based on the closeness and rank difference between competitors to mitigate competition and maintain cooperation. However, when food resource was extremely limited, the frequency of costly competitions, monopoly, and fight increased significantly and lead to the breakdown of cooperation. Actually, compared to like humans, kids, there was a study that in a similar experiment setting, human kids they developed strategies to maintain the cooperation in when the food was it can be easily monopolized. And the key point is the kid learned how to share with others so that they can keep the cooperation going on and still gain the profit from cooperation. And yeah, here I would say like where there is a rise, there is a fall. There's a fall is not only can be applied to the Asian elephants cooperation, it can also be applied to my study because we successfully finished these experiments, but it is followed by some falls of my experiment. But I want to introduce some failed experiments of mine here because I also learned a lot of things from this failed experiment. So after we finish this cooperation experiment, we want to explore further whether they have prosocial behaviors. So in the case we mentioned, the cooperation is kind of like we call it selfish cooperation. It's based on contingent reciprocity. So another kind of prosocial behavior is unselfish cooperation, which means that they may have this kind of altruistic behavior towards others. So uh, in some other case, like in the the classic experiment setting of the prosocial choice test is shown in this figure. So you can see two tables. The upper one is the selfish choice, and the bottom one is altruistic choice. So the donor chimpanzee on the left side, if he pull the upper tables, both no, only itself can get the food. But if it pull the bottom table, both of him and the partner can get the food. So it's altruistic choice. This text has been tested in some primates, and so here we also want to see if Asian elephant have this kind of altruistic impulse towards others, because elephants were behaved tolerant in our last experiments, and they are empathetic animal. So we predict that maybe they would know they would have this kind of prosocial tendency. So we use the classic environment setting at the beginning, but later we found that the vision of the elephant is not good enough, was not good enough to finish this task. So we manipulate the apparatus a little bit. So we also, you can see the figures on the right side here. And it's also a loose string apparatus actually, but here we put, how to say, tie a knot here and also here. So this is a pie, a plastic pie. We hang two bells on the stick here. So elephant have two choice, the left side choice and the right side choice. So if elephant choose one side, pull the one side of the road, this knot will bring this pipe forward and hit the bell and make different sounds. So these two bells had different sounds, okay? And we use these apparatus to train the elephant and use them to run a position preference test to see if elephant has any preference on the position. And then we assign the preferred position as a altruistic choice. And then we run the prosocial choice test. Okay, so I will keep it simple. We try to compare the frequency of prosocial choice between the first trials and first 10 trials and second 10 trials, and see if elephant could learn after the first 10 trials, and maybe the second 10 trials they may be like more prosocial than before. But we didn't see any significant difference here. And then we compare like two groups, like with partner or without partner, to see if Asian elephants would behave more prosocially when there was a partner beside them. But also it's like there's no significantly difference. And we want to know that whether the partners relationship with this donor elephant have some influence on the frequency of the donor elephant's prosocial choice, but still we found no pattern. And so this study did not find any evidence of altruistic prosocial behavior in Asian elephant. And then we also try another helping behavior experiment. So this is our experiment setting. So we put elephant 8 in the enclosure 1. And we train the elephant 8 to take the token, which is a blue pie, and then go. And then when the elephant take the token, he will go to this enclosure and give it to me so that he can get a reward. And it took us about 3 weeks to train him to do that. We used clicker training in this case. And after he successfully learned how to do this, then we put this token far away from enclosure 1. So, but it's close to enclosure 2, where we introduce elephant B in enclosure 2. We want to know if this elephant B can help the elephant A to get the token for him. But we later found that elephant A didn't need help at all. He just directly broke the fence and get the token. So this experiment also failed because we didn't consider about the strength of the elephant. So from this failed experiment, we learned that the vision of Asian elephants is maybe not good enough to see what we've done to the apparatus. And in this prosocial choice test, you can see if the recipient elephants has a higher ranking than the donor elephant, then this donor elephant could stand far away from the recipient elephant, which means that he would always choose the side of the rope that far away from the recipient elephant. And third, we didn't test whether elephants understand the apparatus or not. And this is quite important in a behavioral experiment. So we cannot can come to a conclusion that the Asian elephant did not display any prosocial behavior in this experiment setting. It may be because they don't understand our apparatus at all. And in our future experiments, we would also learn to consider the strengths of the elephant. So personally, I myself will, in the future, I would also still explore a little bit the perception of Asian elephant, like based on their sensory organs and how they perceive the world. And we would also like to do some behavior-based conservation work in China. Okay, I would like to thank my professor, my supervisor, Professor Rui Changquan, and he has been very supportive all the way through my experiment. And I would also like to thank Professor Josh Plonick, and he have been teaching me a lot of behavioral experiment things, so that I really learned a lot from him. And I would like to thank Estelle and Xia Shangwen for helping me in data analysis and experiment designing. And at last, I am really grateful for the staff from the Human Elephant Camp. They are the kindest people I've ever met in the world. Okay, thank you for listening. And is there any question?
Thank you, Lily. My first question is, did you ever, in the original experiment, the cooperation experiment, did you find a pair that would cooperate, or that manage, as you said, the experiment with children, they developed strategies to share and to keep their partner engaged. Did you find any that actually did that, or did the elephants just continue to monopolize the dominant elephant until cooperation broke down?
Yeah, they keep monopolizing the food. Always the dominant elephant keep monopolizing the food. But I was thinking maybe is that the banana we put in the tray is too small for them to share with others, or maybe it's because of some other elements. But I personally myself believe that actually some elephant may know how to share, because I've heard of one case from Mahut's experience that he saw a female elephant offered food to a baby elephant. So, but I'm not sure. Yeah, but in our case, the elephant keep monopolizing the food all the time.
Yes, I wonder if that was due to the fact that there were so many elephants in the one place, whether you had a proper friendship, or just two elephants who were great friends, whether they might be more prepared to find strategies to keep the cooperation going. And at the moment, or in this setup, other more dominant couples would try and take over. My second thought was an anecdote, really, based on the altruism thing. We were from another experiment here on site. We had a setup earlier this year where, for reasons I won't go into, we had a fence with some food in between, and the fence was actually the elephants. And some of the elephants could get through the fence, and some couldn't. Either having had experience with electric fences, or didn't like just going through the rope. And we worked together in some of the tightest, what we call the friendship, or what we assume to be good friendships, that we have on site, and we only have 20-something elephants on site. But unfortunately, I don't know if surprised or not surprised, but in every case when one elephant would break, or in no case when one elephant could break the fence and get through, did they then either come back and help their friend through the fence or take them food. They just ate in the middle and left it. So certainly when it comes to food, we've never seen mother and young, maybe. I'm sure there are anecdotes. We didn't see any altruistic behavior whatsoever, even among the tightest of friendship couples.
Ah, okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But maybe actually they don't need to share food in the wild, so that's why the experiments results is like this.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Also, with us, they were always surrounded by natural habitat as well. So the partner outside was always having something to eat. So that, you're right, that could have made a difference. Going to Facebook. I don't know if you had any of these because it was only a limited group that you had, but Rebecca asks, do family members, either mothers with teens or related elephants, are they more likely to work together or less likely for cooperation to break down? Did you see anything like that?
Actually, the elephant that we used in this cooperation experiment, we don't introduce the elephants with that had kinship, like mother or their son or daughter. We don't have a pair like that. So, but we just calculate their closeness, like whether they are friends or not, based on like if they're standing close with each other, the frequency is high. It means that they are closer to each other. So we just use these these parameters to measure the closeness between elephants. And there is no mother or kids in our case.
Okay. And sorry, I know you showed the graph earlier on. Did you find the ones that were closer, that cooperation took longer to break down? The ones that you assumed to be closer?
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
The ones that you assumed to be better friends, did it take longer for cooperation to break down, or was it the same?
Well, actually, I didn't calculate the time for each pair's elephant. How long would they broke down? I just calculate the how to say, the whole pattern, like for the whole group of elephants.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold on, I think we have another question in. Yes, well, Heike's making a comment that maybe she agrees that maybe not enough food. If there was more food, maybe that there would be more cooperation. Although I have to say, when we did our other experiment, we weren't looking for this at all. But when we did our other experiment, there were 4 or 5, no, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 20 or 30 sticks of sugarcane in the fence that they'd gone through. So there was plenty of food to share, and in some cases certainly some of our more gluttonous elephants would eat those 20 or 30 sticks without sharing. So I'm personally of the opinion that certainly for captive elephants, that when it comes to, there may be other ways they might show altruism, but very difficult to prove. But when it comes to food, I haven't seen altruism in elephants. They take what they want, and when they're full, they might move on, but they don't necessarily share. I mean, I haven't seen it, which is interesting given how they work so well together, and how they do cooperate when there is a one each, when there's a fair chance of getting a reward. You would think. Yeah. You would think, and I would love for your experiments to go on and find that they would at least work out that if they share the food, they have a better chance of cooperation in future, which seems to be the next step in knowing what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Josh is saying, yes, it's so hard to work with elephants, and he knows a thing or two about that. Not that I do. And to do it in Myanmar at this level is really incredible. Yes, I agree. So yep, as Josh is telling me which compliments I should give, as usual. But no, very, very good.
Thank you.
Very fantastic to do it, and actually. As I say, I can never talk about Myanmar without saying such a shame. I hope your friends over there are okay. I don't know if you hear from them. Very, very tough times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we spare a moment for everybody out there in the audience to think of your friends and my friends and all of our friends in Myanmar.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think that is everything.
Okay.
Everybody who's commenting is agreeing that you are awesome, and your work was awesome. So thank you very much, Lily. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us and explaining your experiment. Good luck with future research. We're only 300 kilometers away, so if you want to do something down here, we do try and avoid fighting, but there might be something else we can do. If you'd like to come down the river, actually, COVID stopped me going anywhere. If you'd like to come down the river and do some work here, you're more than welcome. Josh knows the setup, so he can advise what's possible and what's not. Okay.
Yeah, one day I hope to visit your elephant camp.
Yes, and one day I hope to get back up to Sichuanbana as well, and the gardens there, because
you're very welcome.
See your traveling herd of wild elephants that come to visit there. I know you're trying to set up a garden so the elephants can come and visit you every year, which is a dream for mine. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All that remains for me to say, I think, to audience in Facebook land is we do have another less academic, more boring, more me talking lockdown live stream coming at about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then next week's lockdown, Elephant Professional lecture will be in the afternoon from a great friend of mine, DB Chowdhury in Nepal, talking about community forest and community buffer zone forest community conservation. So they do have elephants there, but it's not strictly about elephants, but it will be a fascinating talk about how they can use community forestry to actually extend the conservation possibilities, the possibilities for Chitwan National Park in Nepal, and also bring some income using wildlife, bring some income to the local communities as well. So it's a fantastic piece of work he's done there. I've been following it for over 20 years now, so it will be fascinating to hear from DB quite how he managed that. All that remains for me to say is thank you very much again, Lily.
Thank you.
Let's work together in future. I will come and see you as soon as I possibly can when COVID allows, and please come and join us sometimes. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, elephant trumpeting in the background. I don't know if you heard that.
I heard.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.